Good morning, everyone. It is so good to be with you this morning and this weekend. How is everyone doing? Good. I have to tell you something good from my life is that John and I are celebrating 30 years together. Yes. Tomorrow is the day, and he will be arriving at the airport about the same time that I am from his center in Seal Beach right now. He's in Seal Beach, and so we'll have a kiss and baggage claim. So thank you. So that's my good news. So switching gears. Anyone ever feel vulnerable? It's hard to admit that, isn't it? And what do we do about it? It seems to be a part of the human condition. And so how do we make peace with vulnerability? How do we, when it appears to be a part of our human experience? So today we're talking about vulnerability as your friend. Now that was a stretch even for me because I had to really look at that. We have these topics, and I was like, okay, let's try vulnerability as our friend. And so, for the very reason that we need to make peace with it, because if it is a part of our life, and how can we quickly then, be all right with it and move forward with it? How can we work with it? Pema Chodron, the Buddhist nun, says, fear is a natural reaction to moving closer to the truth. Fear is a natural reaction to moving closer to the truth. So when we're in fear, or we're not feeling secure about something, or we're feeling insecure, we're unsure about something, we're really not knowing the truth about ourselves or the situation. And so we're moving closer to it. So that's a good thing, right? That's what we want. Well, I remember feeling extremely vulnerable because I was a few years into my ministry, and I wanted to have a baby. John and I were together. We had just been married, and he had never had any children. And so I was becoming so good at demonstrating. I could make things happen in my world. I could just, I could do things. However, this was not happening. It's really much easier when you're younger. As you get older, you're thinking about things too much, like, should I have hair dye on my, all the things environmentally, and then, then past luggage or baggage from having to share two kids, from a divorce and everything else. So there was, you're just too much in your head. And so extremely independent and very proud, I did think that I could do everything myself, and I gave it my all. And yet this was something that I couldn't get. So, ministers can be very proud, as you might have encountered in your life, and they have high expectations of themselves, and they put more pressure on themselves than anyone else puts on them. So I felt even more exposed. So with each miscarriage, more was revealed about my own blocks that were getting in the way. Still, it wasn't enough. I mean, how many times can you go through that? So finally, I reached out to my teacher, Dr. Kennedy Schultz, who was an older gay gentleman who was an excellent teacher. He was my mentor. And, thinking back, he probably, because I was in my early 40s, he probably was about my age now. So to me, he was older, at the time. Now I'm thinking, oh, he wasn't so old. He was quite young. Now, I assumed that he would know nothing about birthing babies. If you are Gone with the Wind fan, you know that line, I don't know nothing about birthing babies. Was I wrong? Oh my God, I was wrong. You know, when he heard about what I had been going through, he said very firmly, I can't help you if you don't tell me what's going on. He said, I don't understand this desire to have a baby, for you to have a baby, but it seems to be coming through you very strong. And so he was willing to help, and I surrendered. Now, a part of me, I have to say, said to myself, well, let's see what he can do. You know, let's just kind of, I was like trying to stump the teacher. Let's see if he can do anything about this. Well, he rose to the occasion with flying colors. And he said, you know, stop psychologizing. You have to give up the overanalyzation. You know, Spirit is not concerned about your past or your doubts or your fears, not concerned about conditions. Spirit is concerned, or the law of Spirit is concerned about you embodying the idea. And I was afraid to embody the idea because of my past hurts and pains. And so he wrote me a treatment, he even sent me one, and within a very short time I was pregnant, Joseph was born, and so I say, my teacher got me pregnant. You have to give credit where credit is due. So, because of my resistance, my stubbornness, yes, my pride, being afraid to ask for help, you know, I had to go through 3 miscarriages. Now, what if I wasn't so hung up on my ego, you know, thinking that I could do it myself at the time? You know, of course, my husband was behind me. He didn't know what to do. He was one of my students. And what if I asked for help early on? You know, some projects require help. They require more than one mind working together. What if I had given up completely? I would have missed out on enjoying 25 years with this delightful Spirit. You know, he could really be a pain, but he has really brought more joy than anything else. He's been an excellent teacher, and he continues to be, you know, just such a blessing to the whole family. So that's my first story on vulnerability. So the second one is a little bit more fun, maybe. I was drawing from the banks, the historical banks of the things that I experienced, and this one came to mind. Anyone ever do a fire walk? Okay, we got one in the room. I knew a few people that did. I think my brother and sister-in-law had done one years ago. I hadn't really heard about people doing that. And so John and I decided to go to the ministers' gathering in Asheville, North Carolina, about 5 or 6 years ago. And it was a pretty easy drive from Orlando, where we were living, and we had our center, and we could see family members along the way. And I was really busy at the time, and so John made all of the arrangements. And then in the car, he gently reminds me, he says, well, you know there's going to be a fire walk there, of which I had completely forgotten or didn't want to even think about. And so immediately I said, well, I may not do it. I was just like, I wanted that option. I didn't want to feel any pressure to do anything I didn't want to do. So we arrived, you know, we're having a good time, everything's going well, we get to see people we haven't seen, colleagues, friends, you know, we've known for years. And still lurking in the background of my mind is like, oh, what am I gonna do about that firewalk thing? Well, the night arrived. And it was the last night. It was the final event. A few ministers, I must say, snuck off to their rooms. They were not up for that experience. And yeah, everybody has a right to make a choice. You have to feel sort of comfortable. The rest of us were sitting at these long tables, and opting out was still an option. So I just, went along for the ride to see where things were going. I still wasn't sure. The senior ministers, Barbara and John Waterhouse, some of you know who they are, had done this before, and they felt quite comfortable with it. I mean, it's kind of a risky thing to do, but they felt quite comfortable, and John spent hours preparing us for this, talking about how hot the coals would be. And I'm thinking, is he trying to talk us out of this? Or is he trying to get us to do this? Because I really wasn't clear at that point. I didn't think that was a selling point. So we'd even go out to the fire, when it just started, it was roaring, and then we had to, keep going back to wait until the coals were just right. So while we're in the final waiting stages, they had us do this kind of origami thing, where you're doing something with paper and you're following directions. I just couldn't do it at all. My head was there was just too much else going on there. So anyway, he, told us about what the instructions were and how to do it. Not how we should do it, but because that pressure was not there, but how to do it. And this is what the instructions are. When you walk on hot, glowing coals, you have to keep your eye on the goal, which is where you're going. And you cannot look down. If you look down, you will get burnt. So you just have to keep on going. So I was running this by, only one woman ever got burnt because she was a nurse who could not believe that you could do it. She just couldn't make that connection that this was possible. It is a big leap. When we were making that origami thing, or supposed to be, I didn't end up making anything, but I looked down at Ken Gordon and his wife were down the table from me. He's a good friend. And I felt really sorry for him because at this point I had not decided yet. And I'm thinking, you don't have a choice. You're the spiritual leader. You can't bow out. What kind of spiritual leader would say, I have something to do back in my room? So anyway, I felt for him. Now, my husband swears when we all went out, he said, you still had not decided at that point. He's getting a little frustrated because he's ready to go. And I'm thinking, well, who is this guy? I can't believe this. So he decides to go. I lose him in the crowd. It's dark out. There's only these glowing coals and people, shouting and everything. And I finally find somebody that I know, and I follow them. And so I guess I'm doing this at this point because I'm third or second in line. And I see that John is already on the other side, so I missed him totally doing it. And it goes pretty fast. And so here I am. I'm up to go. And so I see John Waterhouse, and I see John. They're calling me, and I'm focused on them. And I just keep walking very quickly over the coals. And I did it. Yeah, I did it. It can be done. Mind over matter, it can be done. And it is a test of mind over matter because you do have to be prepared. And when we got back to the room, to my surprise, I only had a couple little, just marks. And by the next day, they were gone. They were completely gone. We were so well prepared, really spiritually and mentally and all of those things. And it was a moment that I will never forget. And then the day after, we were driving home because I got so caught up in the not doing it, and then actually doing it, and the excitement, I remembered that I was the daughter of a fireman who died in a fire. Yeah, 40 years ago. So when I remembered that, I realized that I was not alone when I walked those coals, and that it was somehow a win-win for both of us. Yeah. Yeah. I was able to do something for him. But see, I had no recollection, I had no idea of that. Probably would have just confused me even more. So what if I had stayed comfortable and decided not to do it? I would have missed all that. I would have missed that opportunity. I would have missed, being in that vulnerability and not seeing what I could really do. What if I would have known how to prepare for this more greatly before I even got there, to prepare myself, or, just to get ready, more, having more spiritual. I just didn't even know how to do that. I did not set aside that kind of time. I didn't have the consciousness to know what to do with that. So vulnerability is our friend. It's our growing edge. And I wish I could say that I'm never vulnerable after that walking on coals, but that's not true. I still have it. It still comes. It is our growing edge, and there are so many things that can make us feel vulnerable. There's so many things and conditions going on around us. Even seeing each other with things that are going around us, it can be very scary. The truth is that we can't have enough shots to keep us from getting things. We can't have enough locks on our doors. We can't have enough insurance to cover every possible scenario that we will ever encounter. We can't have enough wealth to keep us from, feeling fearful about not having what we need. We can't have enough of any of those things. And there are conditions that we're going to come across. We can't get caught up in the details and the worries and the concerns of them and set up camp there. We have to just keep on going. We can't accept the finality of a diagnosis. We can't accept a life sentence. It might be a fact, just like, a lot of talk about being immune compromised. It might be a fact. It's not the truth about us. People are restored and healed every day. Immune systems can be built back up. The body is resilient. And we have no idea how much our body is working on our behalf every day. What is it doing every day, every moment on our behalf for us, helping us to get around that we're not even aware of? So much, so much. So making friends with vulnerability is an inside job that only we can do something about. And we have to ask for help. Now I ask for help. I learned my lesson there. I ask for help. I have people I can go to. And that's what we need to do. I have key people in place that can really help me out with whatever I need. Health, we might have some medical things we have to do. There might be some action steps to take. But if we lose sight of the bigger picture and get caught up, focusing on our hot coals, then we suffer and we're in pain. And that's not life. That's not living. We are invincible beings, and the world is our playground. We have center stage, and it's our job to, sift through the contrast, sift through all the things that we're, seeing, hearing, and, take what we can use and make something of it, and put our, put our blinders onto a lot of things and just stay focused on what we're trying to accomplish. We can't let the appearance or the disappointments or the failures hold us back from being pulled by a vision of something more that wants to be lived and expressed through and as us. And the good thing is there are people, like there were for me, on the sidelines cheering us on that want to see us succeed. You have to know that. Seen or unseen, there's always that, cheering for us to walk across those coals, our own version of coals. Now, interim times are a vulnerable time for a community, right? You've all experienced some of that. I know for some of you it is taking a little longer than you'd like. And with these things, they take as long as they take. And I have to say that this community has grown tremendously. You've done an excellent job in handling this in between, handling the unknown, the abyss, whatever you want to call it. And every time we do that, every time we keep going and we keep doing the things that are before us, in those kinds of times, we rise to the occasion. We grow, we expand. And in doing that, you've become a richer, deeper, more beautiful community than ever before. And this will only continue to grow, and this will only continue to expand, you individually and collectively as this group. And it's a beautiful thing to see. Again, Pema says fear is indeed a natural reaction to moving closer to the truth. And just like we were so beautifully prepared to walk on top of those coals, when we are properly prepared, we can do anything. Do you know that? Yes. Yes. When we are properly prepared, we can do anything. So, life is always wanting to express more fully and richly through each and every one of us. It will not disappoint. It will not disappoint. So, let's know this together. Let's know that life is good. Life is for us. We are immersed in this presence and this power we call spirit right here and right now together. And what a powerful place that is to be. And we just let our bodies and our minds and our hearts just relax into that knowingness that all is well, that there is a larger part of us that is unaffected by anything that that is going on with us, and that we are invincible beings, here to have fun, here to have an amazing experience, here to make something more out of it, here to co-create with the universe, the infinite amazingness all around us, in us and all around us. So we are so grateful for this beautiful community that continues to feed us. We are happy to invest our very best time, talent, and resources to support the ongoing beauty of this work. I release this now, knowing this treatment does its powerful work on behalf of everyone here and everyone everywhere. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, God. Thank you, Universe. And please say together with me, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you.